YouTube. So, this is episode 23. Thanks to all of my late subscribers. And yeah, so as you see in the description, this video will primarily be about, or not the description, what am I saying? In the title. This video is primarily about my math class, but as I promised in at the end of my previous video, which I'll put a link to in the description, I just wanted to give you guys an update or a follow-up to what's been going on since I've come home, and then I also wanted to share a quick anecdote with you guys, and then we'll get into math. So, if you recall, I told you in the previous video last week, my mom, I finally have been walking from our home to the train on my own. I haven't been leaving at like 7:30 in the morning and then just hanging out at Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks because she didn't want me walking to the train on my own. The straight line, guys, if you recall, it really upsets me. But so she's had her friend come each morning and lock up after me. Now I didn't really go into a lot of detail. Sorry, I don't have a chair or like an actual bed. I'm sitting on an air mattress. I just gotta like adjust myself. So yeah. Sorry. I hope I'm still like good in a good view of the camera. All right, whatever, guys. But anyway, so she's had her friend come and lock up for me, and as I said, I didn't really go into too many details in the previous video. So he'd come around like 8:30, so 10-15 minutes before I left, and now he wouldn't just like hang around like a creep. Like he'd do like handyman things, so weeding the yard or just like fixing something or whatever. But he would literally take the key from me as we're leaving. He would lock the door. He would hand the key back to me, and we would part ways at the gate. Now, I think this is stupid. Let me know what you guys think, but I think this is stupid. Because I'm walking to the train by myself. Like, he's just locking the door. I don't know if nothing's happened to me between the train, our home and the train station. Why is something going to happen as I lock the door? And granted, you know, the world is going crazy right now. Maybe. But, you never know. And there's not always going to be someone there to lock the door for me, or like walk with me to or from a train station. And I totally get, I try really hard to get where she's coming from a lot of the time, but I just personally think that this is stupid because like I'm already walking on my own. Why can't I just like do the additional step of like locking a door? I'm capable of doing it, guys. As evidenced by, as I told you last Thursday, I left a lot later since I wasn't working, and I locked the door, and everything was great. And I left school. I didn't have to go to work after that, so I left earlier than my mom had finished working, so there was no one to meet me at the train station. I walked home, and all was well again. So, but at the end of the previous video, I told you I was pretty sure that she would probably ask her friend to come over again the following morning, which she did. Now, granted, she asked him to take a package to the post office, and he does a lot for us. Like, we really appreciate it. So he came to take the package to the post office, and as opposed to just coming and picking it up, he waited so that he could take the key from me, lock the door, and hand the key back to me again. But before that happened, though, I was in the kitchen, and I was like putting on my shoes, and he's just like, this isn't, I'm not going out of my way, I definitely don't mind this, like I just want to make sure you're safe, but it's not like you're even walking me to the train station, like you're just locking the door. But anyway, he's like, I want to make sure you're safe, you're new to the neighborhood, something about being a lone wolf. And basically, all the things that my mom has said, slightly different words, but she, like, spoon-fed it all to him. And you know what? No, I totally appreciate him, we all appreciate him, and all the things that he does for us. He's like, I'm already in this area at this time, so I don't mind or whatever, and I appreciate it. And I'm not going to, like, say anything to him, like, my grievance is with my mom. But I just think it's silly. But yesterday morning and this morning, I'm recording this on Tuesday, guys. This is probably going to be uploaded on Wednesday, but just let you so. Monday and Tuesday morning, my mom was home, so she just locked up after I left, and then, that Monday afternoon, she had my sister come meet me, and my sister was really annoyed, like, she wasn't, in, like, a super good mood, and, she's like, I don't know why the F she just doesn't let you walk by yourself, and I was like, well, your guess is as good as mine. And then Tuesday night, I'm coming home from school, and I call her to let her know that I'm leaving, and she's like, well, text me at, the station that I always text her at, and, I'm like, well, I can walk home by myself. Total shit. Just, like, she was in such a good mood, and she's like, you don't listen to anybody, you never listen to me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay, whatever, well, whatever. So I texted her at the stop, and I called her when I was, like, a stop away from our stop. We were at an, above ground station. So, I had service, and I called her. She's like, you said you were gonna walk home, right? So, and that was that. But she still met me like a block away because she was at the laundromat. But I don't know why it has to be such a big deal. Like, but we have so many issues, like, beyond this. But, like, my vision has always been, and, like, our different outlooks have always been, like, a central thing. Haha, outlooks, I'm punny. But yeah, so that's that. I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, and I'll probably also make, like, a super long blog post about it. I haven't been blogging lately, but you guys should totally, like, go check it out, because I will be getting back into that. And I was actually invited to blog for this new website. I think it's blindnewworld.com. I'll put the link in the description. It's pretty cool. And it's for both sighted and blind people to make, like, a all-new inclusive world. It's to inspire blind people, and then also to inform sighted people. Sorry. But yes, I'm super excited for that. And then my anecdote. Oh, and I'll, like, talk about that. You guys should follow me on Twitter so you can find out about these things, when I'm not uploading, like, because I'm going to tweet the link, of course. But I'm really excited because it'll bring more attention to my blog, and, it's someone else is working on mending misconceptions. That's the hashtag I started, just to let you guys know, because that's the name of my blog, or the URL for my blog. So if you want to search for any blog posts, just type that into Twitter. Also, follow me on Twitter. I totally said this already, but, I can't say it enough. I can say it enough times. Anyway, so, anecdote, and then math. So, I was on the train a few weeks ago, and this girl comes up to me, and, she gets onto the train, rather, and she's, like, beside me, so I guess she didn't really come up to me in the way that I made it sound. But, so she comes, and she's like, excuse me, are your eyes real? And I did not know she was talking to me, but I kind of responded. I just assumed. And I've definitely had moments wherein people were not speaking to me and I responded. Like, someone's like, hey, do you want the seat? And I was like, oh, no, I'm okay. But they're talking to somebody else, someone else disabled or something. And they're like, I wasn't talking to you, but are you sure you don't want the seat? And I just feel so embarrassed. But she actually was talking to me, and she's like, she repeated her question, and I was like, yes? And she's like, oh, well, they're, like, really pretty, and, I definitely felt flattered, but it was odd. And I wondered belatedly, like, would she have been, like, if I'd said no, that they weren't real, would she have asked where I purchased them? I get a lot of, like, reactions about my eyes, but very few, like, direct ones. Like, people, of course, like, whispered, like, oh my gosh, did you see her eyes, and yada, yada, yada. But very few people, like, actually comment directly to me. There was this one guy, when I was walking from the train station, he was like, oh my gosh, your eyes are mad cool, they're like some video game shit, and I was just like, oh, thank you, I think. I have another friend who told me I had beautiful blind eyes. Now he's a fellow visually impaired person, but it was still odd. Like, it was complimentary, like, I knew what he meant. It wasn't, like, creepy or weird or, like, ignorant or something like that, but it was a little weird, just, like, his phrasing, but I know he meant well. He means well. Okay, so math. So, oh, wait, side note about my eyes, like, so, Daredevil's the common thing common comparison for blind people, but I also get stormed sometimes. Now, I've not watched X-Men, but people tell me she's cool. She controls weather or, storms or something, right? Comment, tell me more, let me learn more about her. I've been told that I should, like, dress up as her for Halloween. Okay, now math. So, as I told you guys, in previous videos, so this is my second time taking this class. Now, I took it the first time, my first semester, and it did not go well for me. A lot of the issues that I had with that class helped me, actually, for this one, but I took the class credit, no credit, which for anyone who doesn't know what that means or who has it, like who it's called something different in your own school. I took the class, but I received no credit for it. It's something that you can do. You have to do it before your final, before you take the final. But so it doesn't show up on my GPA, you know. And the reason I did this is because I was going to get a D in the class and I needed a C. It's a prereq to a prereq. So I have to take this math, and then I have to take stat before I can declare the psych major. So, as I said, so I knew what to expect with this class this time around. And it definitely, like, things are going a lot better for me. So, for this class, I knew that the homework would very likely be online on the site, my math lab, which is not accessible with screen readers. So I use the screen reader JAWS, which I talk about in episode 11, the super long video about my technology, the technology that I use and like other blind people use, and I'll put a link to that in the description. Ooh, that was a mouthful. But the developers of that site have tutorials on how to navigate it using the screen readers, but it'd be like learning a new code, for lack of a better metaphor. And, you know, I'd have to learn the new commands as well as, like, on top of struggling with the math material. So, you know, and it wouldn't have been fully accessible anyway because I would still need assistance with any images, either looking at a graph or when I would have to graph an answer for a question. So, I knew all of this, but I was unable to talk to my professor before the class started. I normally email my professors a few weeks or like a week, not a few weeks, but like a week before the semester begins. But as I said, really car or motorcycle? I'm not sure what that is. Really engine. But as I said in like previous videos, I was struggling near the end of spring semester to like just stay on top of things and, you know, yada yada yada. So I totally forgot to email him. So on the first day of class, I asked if I could speak to him, meet with him the next day, and, you know, he was really friendly, and he seemed like he would be reasonable, and we picked a date, yada yada yada, or we picked a time rather. So next day I come in and we're meeting, and he tells me that he's worked with students who are affiliated with the accessibility office before, and, you know, so he understands that I'll need accommodations, yada yada yada. So I suggest to him that he give me, like, or not suggest, but I ask him if he'll give me homework from the textbook so that I could work on that with a note taker, so I also kind of dropped the ball on that one as well. I was supposed to email the woman in charge of note-taking services a little before, like a few weeks in advance, so she could have someone lined up for when the class began, but again, I was not really, I was not on top of I wasn't at the top of my game, you know, I wasn't on top of things, but I'll do better next time. This actually happened, also, I should have known better though. Well, I did know better, I just kept on putting it off, but with the previous class, when I took the class the first time, I didn't know the procedure with getting a note taker. I didn't realize that I would need a note taker, actually, and, so I didn't get a note taker until like a month into the class, and I'd like fallen pretty far behind on homework. I was really struggling. But, you know, so I asked the professor if he would give me work from the textbook, which I asked it was actually my previous professor's suggestion, as opposed to learning the new code. However, current professor had like a better idea. He was like, why don't I have my note taker type in the answers for me on the website, like read me the question, and then once I solved it, they type the answer in for me. And, you know, he figured that it would be significantly less time consuming, and I was like, this is actually probably a pretty good idea, and it was. But, you know, I still needed a note taker. So I emailed the lady that weekend, the woman in charge of note-taking services, and I, like, hope that she'll be able to work some miracle and that I don't get someone in, like, she doesn't find someone a month into the class, because a month into a 6-week week course leaves me with only 2 weeks, and I definitely would be failing by that point. But I email her over the weekend, and she gets back to me Monday morning, and she's like, well, we don't have a lot of note takers during the summer, and it's short notice, blah, 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 and she'd be searching for someone for me, and she'll get back to me by the end of the week. So that Monday, upon getting to class, I tell my professor, and, I let him know that I wasn't able to do our first assignment that was due this Sunday. And he suggests, asking a classmate. And there were actually, still a few people gathering their belongings when we were talking, so 2 girls came forward and, offered to assist me. Now, this was awesome, and I'll talk about them shortly. But, and, it was also great because both girls, I could tell the woman in charge of the note-taking services about them, and then they'd be paid as note-takers. So, they'd be doing good deed, they didn't know that they'd be paid. So, it's just out of the kindness of their heart, and they get the additional bonus of being paid. And they even told me, we don't care about the money, yada, 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 but I get it. So, they're working on that. But Professor, I asked, I asked him about getting an extension on the first assignment, and he told me, he couldn't always do this, I'd have to choose between the first and second assignments. The second assignment was due the next day, and I met up with the girls, so their names are Addie and Sabrina. And so I met up with Addie, and we were able to get a lot of it done, but we wouldn't be able to finish it in time. And, he made me choose basically between getting an extension on the first assignment or the second assignment. Now, I didn't totally agree with this because, the circumstances were different. He was talking about being fair to my other classmates, but the circumstances were different because I literally could not do the work. It's not as though I was making up excuses or something. I needed someone else to assist me with the work. But, he, whatever, I decided to get things done on the second assignment, and Addie, she offered to go, argue my case for me with him, and I was just like, you know what, it's fine. It's only one assignment, and, well, it's fine. Again, I'm still frustrated about it, a week and a half, 2 weeks later or whatever, because, it's not as though I decided that I just wouldn't do it, but, it's over. I've done all of the other assignments, so that's great. We're even a little ahead right now. But there came another time when I needed an extension on, assignment 6, so this is, 3 or 4, sorry, math is not a strong suit, guys, I'm sorry. This is 4 assignments later. We didn't realize that a second assignment was due. And he's like, this isn't fair to the other student, or, he's like, I wanted to make sure everything is fair, I don't want to be unfair to the other students, I can't keep giving you extensions all the time. First of all, it's not all the time. Again, we didn't realize that the second assignment was due, and, Addie took the blame for that, and that was great. But again, okay, so I was going to try to, alleviate some of the blame, shift some of the blame from her shoulders, but, it's, she's the one that, looks at it and stuff like that. She's the one who looks at the site and knows when things are due. But, I'm perfectly fine with taking the blame if something's my fault. But he was, going on about how he wants to make sure he's fair to the other students. But fair, he's talking about and being equal and stuff like that. But the circumstances are different, which is what I explained to him. It's not as though I'm just turning on my laptop and just getting to work like all the other students are. I'm working with someone else. I'm working to coordinate our schedules. And, again, the circumstances are different. So, fair isn't necessarily always equal. What would be fair would be for him to give me the additional amount of time for me to get the assignment in. Because, giving me the extra amount of time, will give me the opportunity, will give Addie and I a chance to work on it, whereas people, again, everybody else, they just open their laptops, get it done, and that's it. I'm depending on somebody else. And, he's really nice. He's really trying, and he's trying to get things done, he's trying to accommodate me as best he can, and he doesn't seem to totally realize this. Now, granted, he did give me the extension on homework 6, or assignment 6, so I didn't make a huge deal of it, but Addie's like, maybe we should, or she's like, we could talk to the math department, if we ever need an extension again, and, I'd totally be willing to do that. And again, he seems super helpful, but I don't know, maybe he just doesn't fully understand, or he's not, he doesn't really think about the full implication of, you know, what fair means, like, for me versus the other students, because I totally get where he's coming from. He doesn't want to give me any special treatment, and, you know, I would definitely resent that, getting the special treatment. Well, it depends on the circumstance, honestly. But, you know, generally, like, in general, the special treatment, it's unnecessary, uncalled for. And, you know, I'm pretty much just like everybody else, except for in this circumstance. Like, I'm doing the homework like everyone else, but it's just a little bit of extra work. But Addie and I have been really working things out. So Addie and Sabrina are the two girls I'm working with, and they're both great. But I've worked with Addie a lot more, and she is a godsend. Um, she understands the material a great deal. Like, she understands the material better than Sabrina and I do, and she's like, you know, she's making a cheat sheet for our coming test so we can, like, memorize the formulas, yada yada. Oh, the first test we had, I failed with flying colors. But he drops the grade of the lowest exam, and Addie, like, I really like having someone push me, and, you know, she's like, okay, we're gonna study, and, you know, my main thing is just I'm not confident in my answers. I second guess myself constantly. So she's yelling at me to be more confident, even if the answer is wrong. But anyway, so she understands the material. So when we're working on it, when we're working on the homework, she reads me the problem, and she, you know, explains how to solve it, and then we, like, go through the steps. You know, like, she corrects me if I'm wrong as I work on, you know, as I work through everything. And because of this, like, honestly, I have a lot more confidence about the class this time around, because just, like, having the one-on-one explanation. Now, granted, the first time we had the class, we had mandatory tutoring sessions, but it was hard, like, coordinating my schedule with the tutor and my note taker so we could get the work done, and I was, like, far behind on the homework. Like, it was not a good situation. And this time, again, things are a lot better because I knew what to expect. I have Addie, like, explaining things to me and, like, pushing me to study and to make sure I understand things, and it's great. Like, again, she's also helping Sabrina, sorry. And Sabrina, we've worked together once, and she's really cool. But again, she's pretty much as confused as I am, and we're both psych major, or planning to be psych majors, and we both just need a C. Like, this, as Sabrina has said many times, like, we just need a 70.00000, and we will be happy. You know, Addie probably has loftier goals, but, you know, hey, to each his own. She knows what she's doing, so I'm excited for her. But anyway, so, you know, it's great. And Addie, she suggested that we talk over the phone, because sometimes our schedules wouldn't necessarily coordinate, and we were already communicating via text anyway. So, you know, we already had each other's numbers. But, you know, also, just in addition to that, her and my schedule just, like, fit a lot better. And we also have, like, a number of things in common, so I feel like this helps it a lot more. Like, our phone conversations aren't awkward. Like, if there's any buffering on the computer, so, you know, we can, like, laugh and joke and, like, wait and stuff like that. On the first day that we met after class to get homework done, we were taking the train home together because we were both heading downtown, and we were going to part ways at Grand Central, but she offered to wait for me for my train. So rather nonchalantly, she asks me as we're waiting for the train, so, are you as into that musical Hamilton as everyone else is? And, like, I was like, yes, I am in love with it. She's like, oh, okay, good. Like, she's in love with it too. And that, dear YouTubers, was the start to a beautiful friendship. I'm pretty sure we will continue talking, like, after the class is over, because, again, we have a lot more things in common. We bonded over the dislike of our birth names. We were both named after men, and so we have boy names, but we have feminine nicknames. And, you know, it's great. And Sabrina and I might stay in contact as well. We haven't, like, hung out as much because our schedules aren't as compatible, but, you know, like, our work schedules and things like that. But, you know, we also go to the same school. Addie is just here from another school taking the class for the summer. But, you know, I think Sabrina will at least see me in the halls, and maybe she'll say hi. I hope she does, because she seems definitely really cool, too. But anyway, yeah, so math, I'm a lot more confident about it this time around. With Addie's help, I feel like things are going to go a lot better. I told you I failed the first test with flying colors, but I actually feel a little confident about the next test. I feel confident that I know what's going on, that I might actually like pass it and get, if not like a decent, like I'll pass. I don't know with what grade, but I feel like I'll pass because I understand it a lot more. And like I said, I think people are trying. People are trying to assist me, and yeah. So that's really it. I'm not sure what the next video will be about, but of course there will be more. I always have things going on in my life, and I will be getting back into blogging. My laptop is currently out of commission, but I've been messing with my sister's computer. I'm buying myself a new computer soon. Getting myself a Mac. I had a Windows, or I have a Windows currently. But anyway, so but I will be getting back into blogging, and as I mentioned, I'll be have the guest blog post, and I don't know if I'll make a short video just so I can tell you guys the link about it, but you should totally follow me on Twitter, so, because as soon as I'm finished with that, and as soon as it's up, I will definitely be tweeting about that. I'm super excited. And, you should use my hashtag mending misconceptions whenever you have any misconceptions to mend, and check out my blog, check out old blog posts with it, and I'll put a link to that in the description as well. My blog, as I do every time, and follow me on Twitter, and I said all of these things already, but just reiterating, comment, maybe share. I know it's kind of long, it's 25 minutes, but it seems like my videos are going to range from 15 to 25 minutes. And yeah, have a good night, guys, or a good day, good morning, whenever I upload this. Hope you enjoyed, and yeah.